So instead of it's expensive to find new clients that go pay for pay-per-click or lead generators or people answering the phone or making outbound calls. You got to pay for all that. If you keep a certain client and they just keep buying from you, that's the most profitable sale of all. So that was true in the plumbing business and the electrical or the HVAC, in my business right now, and in your business too, whatever your business you're in. Keeping the client is the number one sale we have, because that one's the most profitable sale, because we don't have to pay all the money to generate the lead or learn about them. We already know who they are. We already know the solution. Now we can just provide more of the same solution to that client. And so that's the most profitable. So if you're out of balance, if you're saying if 90% of your work is coming from new clients every week, you're going to be not as profitable because you're always having to start over again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Joao Camargo, and my guest here today is Joe Crisara, who is the America's Service Coach at Service MVP. Joe, thank you so much for being here today. I'm super excited to have this conversation.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate you.
For sure. Why don't we start off with you just sharing a little bit more about yourself, a little bit more about the company, who you are, who you hope, and any further context you'd like to give to anyone that's listening in right now.
Well, I am a specialist, and I coach blue collar companies like plumbers, heating and air conditioning people, garage door electricians, and landscapers, just people who grind it out every day. I coach them how to create an in-home client experience for their client that results in the science of connecting, the science of pricing, the science of project management. So basically, as a result of it, the normal service provider, knowing the science of all those things, connects better, diagnoses better, makes the prices better, and winds up profiting about 5 to 7 times more than they would if they did not have the training we do. Because I think most people are just trained on the job they do. They're not trained on the way to communicate value for that job. So basically, what we do is we help people communicate value for whatever kind of a business they do.
That's awesome. And value, not price, which I think so many businesses get stuck on, right? Hey, what's the price? What's the price? No. Let's talk about
Let's
the value.
I'd say the pricing is sometimes a mystery, but it's actually a science. It's not a mystery.
Yeah.
The answer is you have to charge more, but then the other answer is you have to communicate higher value. You got to communicate it both, not just with the words you use, but also with the actions you take. And so, the commitment that you display by the actions you take are what speaks loudly, to people.
Yeah, 100%. I actually completely agree with you. And I'd love to ask a little bit more on the origin story of the company and all those things. But I just wanted to add something very quickly, even for one of the people we've worked with a couple of years back. Just always this talk of value and the offer and the framing and all those things. And just by being able to optimize that very, very well, easily double the price, sold more consistently. Nothing else, just better value, which is a full testament to exactly what you're just saying. Just really being able to portray that in a very, very efficient way. So awesome. Great start. I love that already. And then I'd love to understand too. Tell me about the origin story of the organization. How did that come about? And yeah, share that spark that created this entire thing for you.
Well, when I started out, I was like an expert plumber, an HVAC technician, electrician. So I knew my trade very well, but I didn't know how to price the product out or how to communicate to the client. I just thought that the work speaks for itself, but I didn't realize it doesn't speak for itself. And so I wound up thinking that the way to price things out was find what other people were charging and then charge a little bit less. That was my only method at the time. Then I realized that you have to use your own financials to see how much does it cost to do business. Then you have to charge more than it costs to make a profit. And so there's a reality of the pricing being a certain way. And so because of that reality, I wasn't following that reality. I was gaslighting myself, thinking everything would just take care of itself. I think most businesses that are not successful, they kind of willingly gaslight themselves into thinking, oh, we'll turn the corner. We'll just sell more stuff. It'll be better tomorrow. But it never got better. And I wound up being about $500,000 in debt by 1991. And then one of my customers noticed that I wasn't doing very well, and he offered me advice on how to change the pricing. And just like you said, by the little bit of pricing change, instead of giving one price, I began giving premium, mid-range, and economy choices for my services. The prices more or less doubled immediately. So I wound up doing twice as much right away. Now I probably do about 30 times as much as I originally started out doing. So, and I teach
Mm.
people like for instance, like the average HVAC person might charge 5,000 to do an air conditioning unit. My people would average about 25,000 for that
Mm.
same thing. Not for the same thing, but they offer more, they do more stuff in the premium option, more
Yeah.
services, more consumables and things like that. So more of
Yeah.
a bigger package, if
Yeah.
you will. I know it sounds super simple. Like if you go to a car wash, you see the one's got the detail for 169 and you got the other one, the mini wash for $15, and you see the same concept basically. When anybody who has any kind of a service could offer those choices
Mhm.
and immediately start making more money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. If you don't change, nothing changes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If you only offer the cheapest thing, then you're always going to be broke, or you're going to be always trying to, you're always struggling for money. When you offer something more premium, you're getting the client uh, to take accountability on the bigger solution,
Mhm.
which is more work, but is also more profitable. Instead of driving around to 5 jobs, you can make the same amount of money on the one job and not drive around to 5 different places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waste your time.
Yeah, and it also just becomes a race to the bottom, right? It's like who can undercut each other the most, and then everybody's now losing money to work. It's like, hey, no, this is totally upside down. That's not how things should be. And it's so interesting as well because um, I think in a way the ability to charge higher also shows how it's instant value perception for someone else. If they see, like, if you're the cheapest, you simply cannot be the best, right? So someone see the cheap price and
Yeah,
they
there's a law called the law of association,
Mhm, exactly.
where if you are associated with the cheapest price, we all know that that can't be very good. Like if we went to a place in Paris, France, and we don't speak French, but we saw the price was only $2 for something, we know it wouldn't be very much food, or it wouldn't be very good. Where something that costs $75, it associates with a much higher quality, probably going to have some beef or pastry or something that's because for 75 euros or dollars, it better
Mhm.
be pretty good. It better be pretty good, or else I'm not going to, you know. So
Yeah.
I think it challenges you
Uh-huh.
to create a higher quality when you charge a higher price. So if you started with a higher price and said, "What can I do to make that price worth it?" You're on the right track. You're saying, "What more could I do for the customer to
Mhm.
charge something?" Like if you're whatever business you're in, you need to make a certain amount of money. You say, "What do I need to do?" Like for me, it might be like, I could get a coaching package for this much, and I could say if I did a coaching package and I visited their location and flew into town and work with them, it'd probably be worth 3 times as much than the coaching
Yeah.
package, right? If I gave them personal attention throughout the whole year, even that would be worth twice as much. So, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that are people do, and really every business has got that ability to do it. They just don't realize they're standing on top of a gold mine.
What do you think are those biggest barriers, those biggest mistakes that they're making that doesn't allow them to either have that right perception or just take the action to get them to make more money?
I think the first mistake that I made was the same mistake everybody makes, which is you look at the competition as a reference for the price. And that's a mistake because the competition doesn't have the same cost of doing business that you have, right? So you're doing it's a false parallel. You're creating a parallel. It's a
Mhm.
fake. You're fooling yourself because your overhead and your cost of doing business is either lower or more. It's not the same as the other person.
Mhm.
So, and by the way, that person probably stole the price from somebody else too. So you're probably taking a flawed model and just copying it, because nobody ever told the person that you need to calculate the break even price and a profitable price, and nobody ever got the education on it. And I think what Stott said is that we don't focus on what our costs are to create a profitable price. We
Mhm.
focus on what everybody else. We focus on the market, and the market only works when you're selling a commodity like tomatoes or gasoline or milk or something like that. When you're selling a service, to do websites or landscaping or anything, pest control, the service is something that has a person behind it, and people cost more money than things, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a commodity as soon as somebody has to do it for you. If you can buy it at Amazon, then it's a commodity. But if it needs to be, somebody needs to take that part and install it, or take those papers and do the tax. If you have an accountant do the taxes for you, that's going to be more money because you're tapping this. You're buying somebody else's time, and time is service. Basically, you're buying.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest mistake is that people copy somebody else's price
Mm,
rather than figuring their own profitable price. Make sense?
mm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes that copying happens from a business that isn't making any money. So then
It's most
you're
likely. Yeah,
right.
they're copying from a flawed model from one copy to another. It's like blind leading the blind, as they say.
Exactly, through a shooting, and then nobody's knowing no knows what's going on in any place. So that's
You
great to
got it.
hear as well.
You got it.
Yeah, and something that I always love to ask here in this podcast too, Joe, is a question that sometimes can be a little bit upside down because I think as business owners and entrepreneurs, everyone always loves to share their wins and their successes and their case studies. Phenomenal, amazing, all power to that. I believe in that as well. But people rarely don't show the challenges. So that side of things, we all know business is not sunshines and rainbows. There's always challenges along the way, things that we have to overcome to then achieve the things that we always want to achieve. So I'd love to start there. What are some of the challenges that maybe you faced back then, and how are they different from the challenges that you have right now in the company?
I don't think the challenges are any different from any business. Even when I first started out doing plumbing, heating and air conditioning, electrical, and that kind of a business, and now I do coaching and training and consulting. Retaining retention of the current client you have is the number one sale we get, right? So instead of having it's expensive to find new clients that go, pay for pay per click or lead generators or people answering the phone or making outbound calls. You got to pay for all that. If you keep a certain client and they just keep buying from you,
Hmm.
that's the most profitable sale of all. So that was true in the plumbing business and the electrical or HVAC in my business right now and in your business too, whatever your business you're in. Keeping the client is the number one sale we have because that one's the most profitable sale because we don't have to pay all the money to generate the lead or learn about them. We already know who they are. We already know the solution. Now we can just provide more of the same solution to that client. And so that's the most profitable. So if you're out of balance, if you're saying, if 90% of your work is coming from new clients every week, you're going to be not as profitable because you're
Mm,
always having to start over again. When you are 90% of your work is with people who are loyal clients, you're going to make more money. It's going to be more profitable. So that's a simple truth, I would say,
yeah.
that is the thing that's a challenge is to make sure that we retain the current people that we have, make sure they're happy, not always focus on new things. Like
Mm,
this podcast will generate new people, but also might have other people who used to know me, like, oh, I have to go back to that guy. I haven't seen him for a while. So maybe somebody who knows, or maybe somebody who currently does know me, and then they say, you know what, I need to buy more stuff from that guy. So you know, what I'm
it's a
saying,
reminder.
so it could be a reminder or it could be new people. Honestly, new people are a little bit more less profitable because we have to take the time, we have to invest time without getting paid anything to learn about people, to
Mhm,
diagnose their problems, and then create
mhm.
solutions. So a lot of work goes into just giving somebody a price, honestly.
Yeah,
Uh, and then getting them started or onboarded takes an
yeah.
effort too. And you don't get paid any extra for that, no matter what business you're in. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and so that's the part about it. That's what I would say is my number one challenge. And really, I think everybody's number one. If I would say one thing, the easiest thing to sell is somebody who's already bought.
Interesting. Well, actually, I love to ask a secondary question to that, which I've often asked to many of the guests on the podcast now. Out of 170 recordings we've done, I would say at least 95% have gotten this question. So you're
Right.
a big group too.
Yeah.
What if you had a magic wand, Joe? And when you're looking at the growth of the company, the revenue targets, the client acquisition targets, whatever that might be, I think so many times as the leaders of a company, we're trying to focus on so many different priorities. But for this one, you just get one thing. And if it is the thing we just talked about, sure, just let me know. But if you had to wave that one and solve one specific obstacle, challenge, hurdle within the company right now, what's the thing that you want to solve to then achieve all the growth goals, the revenue targets that you want to hit?
You're talking about for my company for service
Your
MVP?
company, yes, for
Yeah.
service MVP, yeah.
Um, I think the biggest thing, if I had a magic wand, it would be to make sure that we have my clients advocating for us. the more people we have that advocate for us, the easier it is to get new clients either as well too. So it keeps the revenue machine working if my current clients are advocating for us. So
Mhm.
to make it easy for them to advocate or onboard somebody to our company, I think that's probably our biggest challenge because we do have a lot of clients. We have over we've like on the book on this book that we sold recently on the called What Should We Do? We have over 135,000 sales of the book, and it's a lot of people on following up with it, right? So if I said if I had a magic wand, I would like to have those 135,000 people not just buy a book, but also use my services as
Mm, mm,
well. And we have done a thing where people can get a free access to our training buying the book. So it's starting to work that way. But you know what? If I had a magic wand, I'd like to have basically, uh, now with the magic of AI, there is a magic wand there because
mm,
AI is allowing us to do more without having, to be able to do more for people automatically
yes.
using my voice and using our material without having to do it all myself. You can't do it by yourself, you know? That's why I said having somebody else to advocate for you, it helps when you got more than one person. There's no one person who could be successful on their own. It takes
Yeah.
several people who are going to advocate for you and put and recommend you to other people. That's really where it's most successful. And if I never stop, that never stops being a challenge because it's as I have advocates, some of them fade away or they change their business or I have to create new ones. So
Mhm.
that's something that's there. Does that make sense?
Amazing. No, I love that answer. And I have one final question for you here, Joe, which is actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they had no idea who you were.
Hmm.
So here's the question. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Sometimes this question is not fitting. This is perfectly fitting for our entire discussion here. So I'm excited to
Right.
hear your answer. How did you deal with your first significant client churn? And what steps are you taking to reduce churn in a market where everyone is attempting to cut costs?
It fits right into that thing, right? The part of
Yeah.
there. So what we've done, how did I deal with the first client churn? I called up that client and see if there's something I could do to get feedback to improve. Number one, my number one thing was like, hey, where did I fall short? If you're going to get away from our business, where is it that I fell short? And what would you suggest as an improvement we could make to bridge the gap there? And then we did that. They gave us feedback and we did bridge the gap. I came back and said, "You want to give it a try? How about if we give you another month for free?" And then that we successfully retained that client and on that churn,
Mm,
right? By doing it that way. And I think that's just the kind of way we do things. Even if we start to lose a client, we try to do something to find out where we're falling short. To take responsibility is a number one thing when you have client churn. I think when you start blaming your clients for not staying around, you're obviously you're blaming the wrong side of the mirror. You should, I would say, point the thumb at yourself over here. Don't point the finger out there at somebody else. If you're pointing the finger at your client for not continuing to purchase your service, there's three finger. I say you point one finger out there. There's three fingers pointing back at you.
mm,
You're the reason why things have stopped. Makes sense. So that's the thing about it. So I would say, I'm not sure if the answers it completely, but I would say, what can I do to make sure that we serve you better, so that you can stay or remain a loyal client from us.
yeah.
That's what I
That's
was trying
awesome.
to do in every one thing. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's awesome. Because right away it was just, hey, how can I improve? How can I make this better? How can I make this right? And then you did. So thank you so much for sharing that incredible
Yeah.
story. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. What an incredible and insightful conversation. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about you and everything you guys have going on?
You can go to servicemvp.com if you want to and either join there. We have a free membership there. You can listen to the audiobook for free if you want to join there. Or if you want to just go on Amazon, you can purchase my book called What Should We Do? In the probably a link will be in the Amazon thing we have there. So we'll definitely have that for you. We have the audiobook right now is the most popular method. It's 9 hour audiobook. So it's not a small thing. It's legitimate produced 430-page book. That's nine hours of Audible, and it's on Audible. It's on Amazon. So if you want to listen to that, you're welcome to do that.
Amazing. I will try to leave as many links as I can down below here if you want to check any of that out. And if you enjoyed listening to this conversation, you want to hear more conversations like this, please hit the subscribe button and I will see you on the next episode. Joe, thanks again for your time. Thank you.